All right, math. Who wants to do math? What do you mean it's Sunday? You don't do math on a Sunday. All right, so the word has been that the NHL wants to start January 1st. And there are those who will say that's crazy. They can't start that early. It's not going to happen. But I think they're right. I think for the NHL to make this season work and to get this season done, they have to start by January 1st. Now, I'm going based on what may happen, what we may end up seeing happen. And I'm saying 4 hub cities to start the season from January 1st until say February 1st. So over a 32-day period, 4 hub cities. And here's why. Let's just say 15 games are played by each team, maybe 16 in each hub. You get those games out of the way. You get 16 games into the season before teams go into their home rinks. Now, you kind of acknowledge we probably will not have fans in attendance for a majority of those games. But then February 4th, so I'm allowing a couple of days off, right? So a couple of days after the hubs are finished. And then teams go to their home cities. So 31 home arenas. And then I'm saying play until May 15th in the home arenas, right? So May 15th would be the end date, potentially, for the season. Keep in mind what was released last week was information that the NHL is being kind of advised by other professional leagues in North America. Leave yourself some time. Leave yourself some time to do makeup games. The NFL may very well be regretting this. The NFL may be regretting not starting their season 2 weeks earlier. So they would have a 2-week cushion where they could put games in the event of outbreaks and positive tests. They're going to happen. And as vaccinations roll out and players get them, there's the other problem with the vaccinations. Vaccinations will make you sick. So we may be looking at a situation where, yes, players get vaccinated, that vaccination makes them sick. It's depending on which one's released first and which one's used most widely. It may be 2 shots 3 weeks apart. So you may be looking at players being ill for maybe 4 to 6 days combined between those 2 shots. And that's something the NHL may need to figure out. Do certain teams get immunized at the same time? Like, okay, let's say I'm wearing Toronto because, Toronto. I'll get into why I'm wearing Toronto at the end of this. So let's just say that all the Maple Leafs are scheduled to have an immunization on February 18th. Schedule them to be off till the 21st. And maybe the team they played against that night, say it's Ottawa. And so they're both off for a couple of days so that they know they're all going to be inoculated, and then they go back out a couple of days later and they play hockey. This may be something that they have to bake into this as well. And then along the way, you have less concern about outbreaks within the NHL. Or maybe the entire league gets it. All right, guys, it's shot day. All right, and then for the next couple of days, I can report on, so this guy's feeling sick, and this guy feels great, and this guy, that'd be fun. Maybe just the whole league gets it all at the same time, right? But regardless of how they do this, they're going to have to bake that into it as well. And they're going to have to be flexible with their schedule. This is where, for the cities where there aren't fans in attendance, well, it's fine. We've seen that in the NFL, Major League Baseball. We have to move the game to tomorrow. All right, there aren't any fans here anyways, so we can do that. We have to move that game up. Cool, yep. Don't have to worry about fans canceling tickets. But for the NHL, they're not going to want to do it that way. So maybe, again, we'll see what happens, right? Or maybe you just don't bother getting them vaccinated right off the cuff. Maybe certain groups go, like, it'll be interesting to see how they do that. Now, I'm supposing that your regular season with the home rinks goes from February 4th till May 15th. May 15th is where I have the cutoff. And I'm saying if you have, say, 12 games every 30 days, so I'm not saying a game every other day, because they're going to be traveling between 31 rinks, you're going to need days off. Up till May 15th, you're going to get in approximately 40 games. So that's 15 plus 40, 55. You can probably round that up. You can probably get a 60-game season out of that. You can probably get 60 games and get this done by May 15th. And then you're allowing yourself 2 weeks before the end of the season to the start of the playoffs, not because players have to have 2 weeks off, but because of what I said at the start, which is other leagues telling them, hey, you want to leave that cushion. Now, if 2 weeks ends up being what it is, then May 29th you could start the playoffs. But I'm just saying June 1st. Just as an outline, June 1st you start the playoffs. And it'll be 16 teams. The 24 team play-in situation we saw in 2020, I don't think they want to do that again. The only way we see that again is simple. If there's no fans in attendance in January, February, and if teams want to make up some of that money, we may see 24 team hub at that, or 24 team play-in at that point, where it's to generate more revenues, where it's okay, we, for teams that didn't necessarily think they were going to make any money, now we have a way to make them some extra money. It may be money that causes us to have more than 16 teams in, but I'm going to say 16. So top 4 in each division, 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, and then when the divisional playoffs are done, the 4 division winners meet off against each other, and whether that's in hubs, probably not by that point, right? Best of 7 in all series, obviously, and you're trying to get 4 rounds done in 45 days, because 45 days later is July 15th. So July 15th is seen as the artificial deadline. And it makes sense for that to be the artificial deadline, not just because of Olympic considerations, but when you look at it, 45 days to get 4 rounds done, it took 48 days this year. From August 11th till September 28th, it was 48 days. This is tough. This is tough. And if you have it in start May 29th or May 28th even, it could be the exact same number of days to get the playoffs done. And we remember all the back-to-backs. We remember all the situations where, okay, so they won that round. They're playing tomorrow. Could happen again this year, where the playoffs end up being kind of rushed to get that July 15th done. Because the key thing that they're looking at for this coming season is we want to make sure 2021-2022 starts on time. And on time would be either October 2nd, which is a Saturday, or October 9th. Because they're going to want a huge production of the 2021-2022 season, when you have to assume there'll be full arenas, all 32 teams then are playing. So in between July 15th and the start of this season, you've got a draft, you've got free agency, you've got an expansion draft, and you've got all these things changing, all these players changing hands. And between July 15th and October 2nd is 79 days. Now, LeBron James was not a happy camper when it was revealed that the NBA was coming back December 22nd, because there was 77 days in between the NBA championship being awarded and the start of the next season. And there are players who are going to say that's not long enough. There are those, though, who have a regular job who are going to say, I would love to have 77 days off. That's 11 weeks off work. I'd enjoy that. So while I understand his point, there's also a point where players are going to say, hey, we want to have a legit off season after this one's done. So you're going to have, stressful situations taking place along the way, and players are going to want a legit off season. And I think 79 days is probably about as short as you can make it if you want players to be happy with the situation and be willing to play. There we go. So yeah, July 15th, I think, is the deadline, not necessarily for reasons of a Stanley Cup being awarded before the Olympics, but because you want that cup to have enough of a separation from the following season to make sure that the players are going to sign off on this plan. Remember, when the NHL and the NHLPA announce an agreement, this isn't the NHL strong-arming players. This is the NHL and the NHLPA coming out together and saying, we are going to, this is the plan and this is what we're going to do. And along the way, they're going to be trying to sell a bunch of jerseys. And this is what we're going to see. This apparently in gray is going to happen, or silver, however you want to look at it. So that's why I'm wearing Leafs, because it's going to be interesting to see just how this season works and how different it's going to look. And all of the excitement about the new reverse jerseys and all this, with a regular season that's going to be completely different as well. Maybe all these backwards, topsy-turvy jerseys are going to be a perfect fit for the season we're about to go through. But that to me is why January 1st is still the deadline. If you push this back by 2 weeks, you're now taking it to where you can have maybe 48 games. If you take it back to February 1st, I don't know. February 1st is tough, because this is February 4th, and until May 15th, with 12 games every 30 days, you're looking at approximately 40 games you can get in there, and you're really squashing down the playoffs at that point to try to get in by July 15th. It is tough. And I remember the lockouts. When each lockout, it seemed like they were saying, well, if we're going to get a season in, we have to start by January 15th, or there's no point in starting. So I don't see any reason why this coming year would be different, why that narrative would necessarily change, and we'll see what they do. So that's how I see it anyways. And I'm doing the hub cities thing because they're still acknowledging they may start with hub cities and move to 31 home teams. And again, you're going to have to get owners to sign off. So you're going to need to tell them, yeah, they'll be in hubs to start the season, but don't worry, you have a chance to make money on your merchandise and on potentially tickets as well, depending on which city you're in before the season's over. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.